Good evening, folks. This is Chris in Pennsylvania, reporting on South Africa from the outside looking in. Is it time to consider whether South Africa has reached a tipping point? This is a question many analysts and many South Africans are now asking themselves as the shameful, hateful rhetoric has been piled on social media, spewed by members of parliament, and the complete dearth of leadership in business and in government as the country turns in on itself. Afrikaners fighting Afrikaners over President Trump's offer of refugee status for selected South Africans, and politicians consistently lying, the captured academia going on media, misleading people, even bringing people from third countries in to misrepresent the United States immigration, asylum, refugee status, and the constant attacks on America, accusing America of being aggressive. Now, this really isn't an issue for South Africa, but these are the things happening. Instead of focusing on the problems inside South Africa, South African leaders are attacking the United States, biting the hand that feeds them. You've already lost $1.56 billion from the green energy deal, which has nothing to do with your politics, yet you claim it's because of Israel. Has nothing to do with that. Donald Trump is not playing with the Paris Climate Accord. Not as long as China, Brazil, Russia, and India are exempt from it and don't pay any penalties while we bury ourselves in debt to pay for that fantasy goal of Paris. And that included the just energy transition. Money's gone. Nothing to do with your politics. However, the $440 million you received this past fiscal year is gone because the global program was stopped. Foreign aid was frozen on the 20th of January. And then what did South Africa do? Its politicians run out and start attacking America. We will not be bullied, said Cyril Ramaphosa in his State of the Nation address. Bullied? Dude, we just stopped the funding. Yeah, you want to up the rhetoric? And now, because of the refugee offer, and also because of the actions of Agri-SA and the purported actions of Solidarity and African Reform, all of which have pretty much been lies reported in the media, people are turning on themselves. People are turning on other South Africans. And especially noteworthy is the racist bile and rhetoric directed against minority South Africans, in particular white South Africans. It is off the charts, particularly in social media. But we see the likes of Nota Baloye perfectly content calling white people subhumans and dogs that need to be disciplined, saying they're genetically inferior. Where is the status of the South African Human Rights Commission investigation against him? Why is the Equality Court not sentencing him to prison as a convicted felon as they did to Vicky Mombert? Clearly what he did, disparaging an entire ethnic group or race, if you will, of people, the whole planet over, getting away with racist garbage. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Threats all over social media, everywhere you go. It's shocking to say the least. So where are South Africa's leaders? Only a handful have actually spoken up, a couple in business, a couple in parliament, but the vast majority are quiet. Where's the Democratic Alliance, the champion of freedom? Where are they at? Where is the Inkatha Freedom Party? One of its own members, the Deputy Minister of Transport, spewing lies about America and hateful racist rhetoric, hearkening back to apartheid. I'm sorry, IFP, you've never run the country. You're not responsible for its failures. You don't need to blame apartheid for the failures. You need to fix things while you're in government. And of course, the African National Congress. But this suits their needs. The Economic Freedom Fighters, it suits their needs. The MK Party suits their needs. What is happening under the surface, folks, which makes me hope and believe that we're not quite at a tipping point yet or past it, which we might be. But one reason I think we might not be there for South Africa is that ordinary South Africans, not these racist scumbags that you find on social media, not these inept, useless so-called leaders that sit in parliament who aren't leaders, but they've been picked because they went through a panel. Oh, I like this one. I like that one. Not for the leadership skill or acumen or their ability to actually accomplish something. Those people, set them aside. Ordinary South Africans are waking up. The ANC's support is cratering. Most recent polls showed it just 32% of the electorate who are interested in voting for these clowns. Are we at a tipping point? I don't know. But someone needs to step up, be a leader, whether it's Valenkosi Klabisa or someone else. Someone in South Africa, Gate McKenzie, I don't know. Someone needs to step up and be a leader and bring people together and unite them and stop this divisive nonsense and quit blaming America for your problems that you've created, South Africa. 31 years of malfeasance and malgovernance. This is not a problem of America's making. You had 22 years to sort out HIV. You were given 5, and we extended it and extended and extended. And here you are 22 years later, still suckling from the American taxpayers' teat, expecting our grandchildren to foot the bill, paying 300% of the money we borrowed today, 30 years from now, for your failures. It's not fair. It's not just. And it's especially morose and disgusting and putrid for South African politicians to attack America because jobs are lost. No, jobs are lost because you stole billions, trillions of rand, Oilgate, Travelgate, and Conla, the arms deal, the Vereda Dairy Farm, Digital Vibes, Sunday de Gourmet's 178 counts in eThekwini, the asbestos tender, PPE theft. Shall I continue? Oh boy. Oh boy. Fix your own house. Get your house in order, South Africa. What a wonderful country full of amazing people, but not the racists who are attacking minorities on social media and the politicians who are doing the same thing attacking America. Keep biting the hand that feeds you, and 20 billion will be gone like that. You'll find yourself out of the SWIFT system like that. You'll find your currency collapsing like that. Keep it up, South Africa. And this government in Washington, D.C. is going to make you pay a price for the insults, the attacks on U.S. sovereignty. It's funny to hear South African politicians whine about the Americans are intruding our sovereignty. No, we're not. The United States government has simply ended foreign aid, which is our sovereignty. We don't have to give money to people, and offered refugee status to people, which affects our country and our citizens, footing a bill of $2.7 billion per year, over 50 billion rand to resettle refugees in this country from all over the world, from Sudan, from Somalia, from Myanmar, from China. Yes, Uyghurs, we resettle refugees, the Uyghurs, from Gaza, from all over the world, and now an offer to South Africans. Those are internal issues for America. We're not impinging on your sovereignty. You complaining politicians that we're impinging on your sovereignty, actually impinging on ours, accusing us of costing you jobs. No, you've had decades to resolve these problems, and you rode the gravy train. And now that the gravy train has run out of petrol, well, I guess the train would run out of coal, now you want to blame Americans. And you allow people to run around. Where are the voices? When Vicky Momberg was in shock after nearly being carjacked and was very disrespectful to a police officer, she was fined thousands of dollars and put in prison as a convicted felon. When Penny Sparrow made a very disparaging, shameful remark on social media, her life was destroyed. But Nota Baloye can run around and call white people subhumans, genetically inferior, dogs, and barely an eyebrow is batted. This is shocking to say the least. Shocking to say the least. The South African Human Rights Commission claims that it's a champion of the dignity of South Africans, yet it never stands up for minorities, or rarely does. And when it does issue a penalty, it's a joke of a penalty. And it does go to the Equality Court, it only pushes for what? It only pushes for apologies, maybe, and community service or diversity training instead of prison. Now, I don't believe that people should be in prison for speech, but it's your law, South Africa. And if you're going to apply it, it should be applied equally, especially for someone who calls for the murder of people based on their ethnicity. Not Baloy, but Julius Malema, endlessly, repeatedly, and all of the little clowns in red jumpsuits. Is South Africa at a tipping point? Perhaps. It's pretty scary out there. But remember this. The people you keep victimizing are resilient people, whether they be black, white, or brown. South Africans overcome, knock it off, get some calm voices in the room, behave like adults, and let's start seeing some genuine leadership from politicians to step up and calm the room down. And how about the South African Human Rights Commission start doing its damn job? If you're going to censor speech, then start censoring it, doing it properly and equitably. If someone's a racist because they have the right skin pigmentation, doesn't mean they get a free pass. All racists, if you're punishing racists, should be punished. Done and dusted, finished and clear. What say you, South Africa?